I've been on this spiritual journey for about since my freshman year of high school, which was in 2018 to 2019. I started waking up to the world, and I noticed that during my awakening, I would see signs and symbols and get lost in the messages and whatever it was conveying throughout the entire time that it started my first awakening. I wasn't confused. I knew something was going on, but I just wasn't sure what exactly it was. And it alienated me from the world and the people around me because I'm looking at these signs and symbols and synchronicities, and I'm not sure what to make up of it until I started studying them and seeing the little instances and the drops that life started providing for me at a young age, and seeing how that started unfolding over time. It was really questionable at first, but it started to unfold the way that it needed to, and I started to get the answers that I never knew that were there, in terms of the questions that were lingering. And spiritual awakenings, you're always in this state where you're questioning your own ego, your identity, the existence of why you're here. And throughout that time, you only get so much time to reflect, because you have to cater to the responsibilities of the world in front of you. So you can't necessarily just think about yourself the entire time. And you go through this dark night of the soul, and your shadow goes through this journey where it's embracing the unknown, and you're on an anchor rope, and you're pretty much submerging yourself into a void of infinite and vast potential and knowledge that eventually becomes so accessible that you didn't even know that this existed within yourself. And it's like a far cry for the parts within your life that were deemed unlovable, in ways of which that the future version of yourself is looking out for your past version of yourself, and it's constantly embracing the identity that it's so desperately seeking and partaking in, that it never makes space for its own authentic spirit to rise and find its own embrace, instead of the embrace and confusion of the signs and synchronicities that the world has been giving you. And these signs and synchronicities are merely just messages to convey and create abstract meaning as to why you are here in this world. And you realize that there isn't really a formula. The antidote is really simple, and you find the antidote within the hurt and the poison and the lead of which has tainted your waters and your blood. But that spiritual awakening is a special thing and a deliverance for a lot of people that not only I go through, because this is a special story for me, but other people have gone through and have embraced a different story as well within their spiritual journey. And it's not about meditating, and it's not about doing these these simple tasks and creating a spiritual hygiene, and it's not even about your spiritual ego. It's like finding the refined quality within your spirit, and not the attachments that are trying to hold you back from reaching your spirit. And spirituality, like, when you're waking up, the world is almost like a pathway for you to be able to venture on and learn through the tribulations, like, what makes this so special, the special parts of life that make it also awe-inspiring. But not only that, but why we decide to breathe in general, why we decide to see, why we decide to touch, why we decide to feel our senses. These senses are given to us to be able to not indulge, but find the qualities that are worth sustaining and attaining within our, like, it's been 6-7 years now since my spiritual awakening, and I'm pretty much done with all the lessons that I needed to learn in terms of what life has to provide. And this is something that is gifted to me through my curiosity and willingness to embrace the unknown and let go of control, to be able to find the things that allow me to find control in the most uncontrollable situations. And I mean, finding patience through these tribulations that occur. That's what spirituality is about. It's not about the look. It's about feeling it. But when you're trying so hard to feel it, you're preventing yourself from allowing it to naturally flow. So it becomes restricted and harder to grasp, rather than something that just is handed to you with ease. And when it is handed to you with ease, you can cradle it without having to worry about gripping onto the satisfaction of that control or desire of wanting something out of a situation, out of someone, spaces, places, and being able to master your own reality without succumbing to the influences of the shit that's going on around you. And I mean, not being a byproduct or influenced or swayed by the distractions of the people in your life that have these lessons to teach you, whether they be good or bad, whether they be showing up in your life good or bad. But this message found you for a reason, and the reason why it found you is because you're probably in the beginning of your own spiritual awakening, or you're in the journey of it, and there are still some things you're still confused about or lost, and you're not 100% sure if you're even on the right path. And that's, I would say, is like a quarter of the way towards what it is that you actually want to attain within your qualities or wisdom that you can grapple onto, because you're going to be doing the work, the spiritual work, to heal, to be a light worker. And it requires going through the shadows and embracing your own shadows and the individuals around you's shadows, and not being lost and confused in the mess of it all. But you're gonna have situations that show up in your life that are gonna test you on whether or not you've learned a specific lesson already, or whether or not you're going to repeat the same cycle again. And the thing is with this is, with those type of cycles, you're gonna have these apparently strangers that are showing up as just like the family members that you might have grown up with, and they might look exactly like these family members you grew up with, and these strangers might not even know who you are, but they might recognize you and say, I've seen you before, you look familiar. And that same universal experience that everybody experiences, it's a very special feeling that the universe gives us permission to have, and it's the ability to be able to talk to ourselves without even knowing that we're talking to ourselves. We have opportunities to come across the people within our life that are the versions of ourselves that we see and are embracing in a different lifetime. But this time, with the strangers acting as if they are strangers to you in this world, when really you're not strangers, you know each other. But sometimes the spirit doesn't know itself, so it'll be in confusion with the world when it doesn't know itself. And eventually, we'll have to remind itself again, why it's here. We don't fulfill these lessons and experiences and these contracts that we have to fulfill within our lives, then we have to repeat these lessons and life lessons with these strangers over and over and over again, until someone in the cycle says, I will break the cycle. And those are the generational curse breakers. Those are the generational trauma healers. Those are the people that break trauma, that know how to heal trauma, that end up healing their family's lineage of trauma and other families' traumas as well. And this is a curse breaker that is unforgeable, and you cannot break its will. You can never break its will. These are the generational curse breakers that are here and destined on this earth to be able to break off the toxicity that resides, the poison that resides within the family tree of inherited trauma. And your spirit is the junk DNA within your body that has yet awakened. And this junk DNA within your body that has yet awakened is the spiritual body that has access to your Akashic records and all the things that you've done in your past life until you learn how to break it in this lifetime. And if you don't graduate, then you will have to experience the same pain and burden in every single lifetime until you learn who you are. And you can't forget who you are either. This is something that is gifted to us because it's inherited within our DNA. We are royal. Everybody's royal. Everybody is royal. We are royal beings. And we have this unknown knowledge within our DNA. 1 gram of blood is about a terabyte or more of information or data. So your body has enough power to create a nuclear explosion. And if you recognize the potential of your human existence, you can do anything in this life And there's nothing that's going to stop you from achieving what it is that you are destined and desired to fulfill within this life. We manifested this earth just based off of our observation, just based off of our desire for a physical form, in order to embody the dreams and the aspirations and the things that we so desire to fulfill within our life. And no one has control or authority or power over your life besides you. And this is what is called divine sovereignty. Your divine sovereignty and your free will to exist, which is a God-given right for everybody. And I just want you to know that you are loved no matter what. And there is no such thing as a disorder in my world. You are perfect just the way you are, and if no one sees that, I think it's time for you to recognize that within yourself and recognize the power within yourself that truly does exist within you. And it may take time and it might not happen overnight, but the best part about starting this healing journey that resides not only within you but within your family is you'll be able to invoke a positive change for the world. And these are the individuals we need to count on to progress society into the future, instead of relapsing into repeated history and burden mistakes that no longer resides within the evolution of the human progression of what we call life. And it's gonna take some time and patience, but with those two elements and qualities, I think that the human collective will go far in life, and our children will never have to worry about the stress or the issues of this cyclical cycle of trauma that is consistently mourning our ability to find any rise in our circumstances when we wake up. And I think that that's what matters the most, is finding that happiness and love and positivity and inspiration within your life to keep pushing forward. And sometimes you might be able to find it in the most negative situations, but at the end of the day, you being able to make something out of that circumstance is what matters the most. And that's all I have to say in terms of my spiritual journey and how far I've come and where my higher self has envisioned not only my life but the life of the people around me as well. And it's going to take time, and there's nothing wrong with that, but cherish it as much as you can before it's too late, and enjoy as much of it as you can before your deathbed arrives and you no longer exist in this world. Because every single day that comes by and goes by, you are one step closer to your death. So just remember that. And